Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. I have another interesting video. Hopefully it's 2010 Ford Mustang 4.0 liters. This is coming from, let me just see, I think it's Chesterfield. Yeah, Chesterfield, Virginia. Brent, this is your computer. So he has a couple of things going on with the computer, but I'm going to show you the his comments and notes, so the concerns, and we will do a test to try to reproduce his concerns. So when I repair it, I can show that it is actually fixed. I have very successfully repaired these computers. If you have any computer or instrument cluster that you need to send for repairs, please just visit my website. It's MikeSalazarDiagnostics.com. The same name. My name is spelled a little different, M-A-I-C, but sounds as Mike, just a regular Mike, in .com. So it's the same name as my YouTube channel. Just add the .com and you will find me pretty easy in there. If you scroll down the page, you will see two boxes that you can click on. One is to fill, to download a form that you can fill and add in the back to the module or modules. And then the other one is for to open your email browser with my email. And also, if you're here and you can subscribe to the channel, that will really help my small business a lot. Every time you subscribe, YouTube promote more and more my videos, and that's how you find me, also for free. So if you do so, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. All right, let's jump into the test. As I usually do, I'm going to show you first connection just quickly, because I have narrowed it down. So I'm going to show you the wiring diagrams briefly, and then I'm going to the connection, which I have put into one page so you can see that very, very easily. All right, so the next view that you will be seeing is here, where I have the Phoenix Max. And the reason I use the top-down Phoenix Max is because it's the only tool that allow me to do the bidirectional control to the AC relay and O2 sensors and other things like the EVA Purge here, and it is no issues. I tried with the Snap-on and I tried with the Hotel. This is the best tool to do those tests, and that's why I have it connected. So let me get you to the screen where I have first all the information. Let me make sure it's ready. Yep. All right. So this is the email he sent me. First, we started a conversation almost a month ago, 20 days. The computer got here yesterday, so I'm doing the test really quickly to see if it's repairable, and I tried to attempt to do that. If you have sent a computer and you have not heard from me, it's probably because either I'm still testing it and it's hard to reproduce, or is because I'm already ordering parts and everything. But I usually contact the customer by then. But if you don't see the video, that's what I tried to say. All right, so let's read it. Brent, he said, hello, I saw your YouTube channel and I'm inquiring about getting my PCM repaired. It's a 2010 Mustang 4.0 V6 automatic. It currently has a problem, and I will try to explain it. When it is cold, engine starts and runs well. However, after a brief drive, it will start to give some error codes, and I have diagnosed it down to something in the PCM, because if I just start it up and let it get hot in the driveway, I can lightly tap the PCM with a hammer and get it to act up. Or I can tap it lightly again to fix itself. So yeah, that is actually, it's not a very conventional test, but it's a valid test. I mean, he can then reproduce it. And why would you think is something wrong in the car if you only touching the computer? I have to agree with Brent 100% on that. All right, so this is the notes that he sent with the computer. I also want to show you, Brent, that during delivery, or I don't know if that was like that there or not, but the connector here on the connector T, with the 70 pins, the plastic around is damaged. It's not going to hurt the connection because it's just an exterior. That's just like a guide to actual connector to enter. But I want to show you that because it's nothing I did. It came like that. So probably during packaging or transport. All right. So the note that he has. Sorry, guys. Let me get to the note itself. So we got the B number in there, which the last digits will be 80863. It says when unit gets hot, it will start to set various codes for EGR valve, EVA Purge, and all four oxygen sensor heaters. Also, at the same time, it will shut off the AC and cooling fans. I can then tap lightly on the ECM and problems will go away for a bit, few seconds, then it come back. All right, so that is just me showing the connections, and also this is the node that I was to show you. So this is the way this computer is. So I just briefly make a drawing in there. So connector E with 50 pins is on the left side. Connector B with 50 pins is on the center, and connector T 175. They're all 175. So I'm just going to give the letter at the end. It's a 70 pin connector. So it's pretty easy to find out which one is which. It's hard for me because I don't have the vehicle here, but in connector B, which is where all the powers and grounds and communication happens, there are 4 grounds all in that connector, and we can see that up in the top here. Let me just zoom in here. Pins 47, 48, 49, and 50 are grounds. In the other connector with 50 pins, those are not grounds. So it's pretty easy to find out which one is that one, and then the other one is a 70 pin connector. So pretty easy to find out, right? So that's how I found it. And I did have already a connector, which was actually made for a 2006 4.6, but it's exactly 4 has actually used the connectors on these type of connectors across computers from, I don't know, maybe 2003, 2004, after they have the EC with 104 pins and they move into these other modules. So, but they're across the board the same in Escapes and Mustang and so, and I'm talking about the connector, right? And connections sometimes as well, right? Because they use the same pinouts and they might change. And I have seen, in the 2010 4.6 or 5.0, the actual connector B is the one with 70 pins. So you got to be careful, at least in my case, right? If you're doing a bench test, to make sure that you are connecting it into the correct connectors. So I got a call from a customer that I need to take. It was actually paying for his repair, so I can send the cluster back to him. All right, so yeah, everything is actually matching as you see in the page in here. So everything is perfectly. I already double checked all the connections in here. So this computer uses, and it's necessary to apply all these powers, except for 35 and 36 are actually the same. So you can use just one wire if you're doing a bench test. If you're working on this truck and you have problems about communications or not starting, I always recommend you to please check powers and grounds and use a bulb, like a halogen bulb or something that you are load testing the circuit, not just a multimeter, because the voltage will show up in a multimeter, and still that doesn't mean it's any really amperage being able to power the circuit. And that is very important. It's just that not just the voltage, is also the amperage. Like a bulb, right? If I connect, let's say, an LED bulb is going to draw, I don't know, 200 milliamps, and I connect it to the circuit, it might light up. But if that circuit is meant to carry, let's say, just to put a number, right? You see the fuse, and the fuse is a 10 amp. So the maximum capacity of that circuit is a total of 10 amps. So what would I check it with a 200 milliamp? Yeah, 200 milliamp. Even a 25% of the wiring or inside that same wire, because it's all strands, right, will be able to carry that load, right? But if I, even less than that, right? But if I could use a high beam, bulb or halogen bulb, or 2 volts or 3 volts, whatever I can put, close to the maximum allowed to that circuit, let's say 5, 6, 7 amp or so, and I connect it to a ground, and then I turn the ignition and I check in a power, and that light lights up nice and bright, well, then I know the circuit is good. But if I use a 7 amp load and I connect it to the circuit, and then when I turn the ignition it's very dim or it doesn't even come on, then you will realize that with the LED lights up nice and perfect, but with that bulb it does not light up. So how is that circuit? It's no good. Then we need to repair that portion of the harness or wire, or find out what the issue is. So the same thing applies with the ground. You just put the test light to power, and then you touch all the grounds, and that's how we do the test. Again, that's not the issue here, because in his, he has communication. So I just showing you briefly all the connections that are taking place for his vehicle. I have also, like I said, the wiring diagrams in here that I'm just going to go briefly. You're going to ask, where did you get all that information from here? This is all from Ford Motor, Ford Information Original. And I like Ford has actually done really nicely the wire diagrams, colored with really good coils, injectors, and so on. So we can see all the grounds on the bottom of this page. But right here, when I'm hovering right now with that red box with, like I said, connector 175B, all 47, 48, 49, and 50 are the grounds. That's how I find out. And I went into each of these pages, and that's what I got, all that note that I just showed you. So again, if you ever need diagrams or so, just shoot me an email and I might be able to help you, because I always save all the wire diagrams for every vehicle that I work. And I want to duplicate, or not to duplicate, to check to make sure that my connections are proper, so my testings are good. Because if I got the wrong diagram, and sometimes even the original wire diagrams are wrong, and I compare it with a color wire diagrams and other informations, and in this case, it's no errors. Because manufacturers might change that, but let's say if I get this from Identifix or all data, it might not be updated on their side, and they don't have that correction being done, and then probably never do it till it's an error, because, you know, they're not there to really correct that much. But Ford will do, and it will show a service bulletin about replacing that page, errors, and so on. All right, so let's see what else I got here. Let's just start with the test, right? I think it's enough information, so I'm going to put the top down in the screen. It's not coming on. Second, guys. Oh, because I minimize the screen capture, or yeah, because that is from TeamViewer. I don't know why these cameras get so bright. So maybe it's because it's a little too dark in here. They have to open the sensor. Just trying to get a little more light in here to avoid that from happening. So it's more room light and less of that camera aperture on, and it gets sometimes really white. All right, I'm going to do it by hand myself in here. So the computer is not powered on. So let me power it up. Well, I didn't have anything connected as far as the main power relay or anything we can actually see there. Should have like a fiber reference or sensor ground in here. Check and connect, because I have it really here. Let me get that so we can see if this computer is actually alive, right? Because otherwise we're just guessing. In the meantime, that we connect it to the scanner. All I'm doing is just connecting my bench multimeter to here. Give me 1 second, guys. I was trying to not make it too in the way. Yes, we do have 5 volts. Let me put the meter in the screen. Yeah, you got the meter now there. Perfect. A little offset, but let me make that tab them a little bigger so you get to see more. You don't need to see my hands or anything like that. And let me put that in there. So we got a good fiber reference, and I didn't doubt that the computer, you know, had any fiber reference or issue like that, because he has no communication problems. All right, so let's try to do an auto selection, which it should. It's a 2010. This is a high speed CAN bus. I'm using the Mark 50, as you see there. I'm actually using that more and more. I'm really happy with that tool. Yep, we got that in there. That sound is perfect. So this is a 4, and we can see A0863. A0863, that's exactly his big number, 2010 Ford Mustang. We're going to do a quick access. You know what? Siri is trying to hear me. Doesn't even ask anything. sometimes I'm actually, a little worried about all this technology. My iPad and my phone was, I was in the office here just watching a video, and then all of a sudden it's just starting to hear without even me making a question on anything, and it's like, is it that hearing to just try to, answer a question? But that's how they got all your information, because I don't know if you guys have ever noticed, but sometimes I'm doing a search in my computer for, I don't know, let's say a wallet. And then we're going over to the theater later on, and then on my way there, and as soon as I put my phone in my car and I open, I don't know, like a Waze or something, or Facebook, and then all of a sudden I am starting to get all these ads about wallets and everything without even, I never went into Facebook. So this is where they're sharing your information without your consent secretly, and that should be illegal. But I mean, if this would be an outside company doing that from, and I'm talking about another country, they will be prosecuted, jail, because of hovering information. But all these billionaire companies are whitelisted. Why are they whitelisted? You're using my information without my consent. But again, a topic for another time. All right, let's click on OK. All this time, all we're doing is just connecting to the computer. We have not really entered there until we go into bidirectional controls or data pits. All right, so we're going to go into the ECM or PCM in this case. Let me just see if I find it. Okay, right here. We're going to enter that. Let's see what faults he has, because right now, I mean, usually faults erase, Ford erases the faults when you disconnect the main keep alive power, and then you lose all that information. But just for the sake of the video too, we're going to do to constant memory DTCs, which is CMDTC. If I do a key on engine off test or so, that will show up, but those are not really, it will try to check for everything in the computer. Yeah, you see we got the P1000. The P1000 means that the computer lost the main power and it erased all the fault codes. So I can already see that we have no, nothing will be of his in here. It's just whatever is unplugged. Yep. So, yep. This is not really helpful this time. We're going to go into actuation test. And that is I think it's an output control or something like that. We'll see when the menu pops up. So in here, we can command all the UC there, like the canister bend valve, vapor management. Let me just see. Canister bend valve, vapor management valve. I think the vapor management valve is one that he has because it's a purge valve. So let's try to do that before we enter into the other submenu. I have connected a test light 1 into the AC clutch relay, which is this one here, and then that one right there is connected to the purge valve. So this will be an on and off test. Conditions have not met. To start the test, some actuations of the PCM module transmission needs to be performed. It is necessary to turn on the audio for some actuation tests under the audio control module. Yeah, I never heard this before. So we cannot run this one in here. Let's see if it lets me do the amperage. Sometimes it doesn't let you do one, but it lets you do the other one. We'll see. Conditions have not met. So, okay, let's try the output test mode. Key on engine off, and it tells you that the injectors and cooling fans will not be activated on this test. So let's see if this one allows me to do. And we can add data stream because I want to make sure that the air conditioning clutch is being commanded. So let's do clutch in here. I'm just looking, doing a search. So air conditioning clutch, and let's do evap. Bend valve, purge, evap, emission management valve. Yeah, I think it's this one. Why is not doing? I selected both. So let me go back. gonna have to. I remember. I don't know why it's done. Software is so weird because you saw me selecting both, but when I went and tried to select another one, it erased the first one. Even though if you go in there, it is selected. So you're gonna have to. Well, I'm gonna have to do it by hand and start to do it with a search because otherwise it will erase or put just the one. You see right now. Look, the AC clutch is selected, and if I keep going down, I guarantee you that you see the evap is selected. So now, if I click OK, those two will be showing. You see, it is a weird, I don't know, selection. Let's do the on, and now we can see both lights coming on. So it's perfect because we can do the test on both. So I'm going to use his method because I need to make sure that I can reproduce because right now they're working. So let's I don't see any problems, but let me keep the computer on because sometimes it needs to be warmed up. It's 11:18, so let me put the time. You can probably, yeah, you can see it on the scanner. Right in the upper corner of the scanner, you can see what it says 11:18 a.m. So let me give him 10 minutes power on. If I see they start to flicker or something like that, or they go off, and then I will come back immediately with a video. All right. All right, guys, the outputs are still on, but I can actually now reproduce. And then you see that in there? You see that? You see that right there? Perfect. So I'm able to reproduce his concerns. So I definitely needed to be heat up a little. And obviously in the truck with the car running, and this will be more pronounced. The vehicle is not running, but I can definitely reproduce his concern 100%. It needed like probably 10 minutes. But you see right there? Perfect. So yeah, right there. Excellent. So yep, now we can reproduce this 100%. So I'm going to open up the computer now and then perform the repairs and then come back, let it heat up for 10 minutes and do the test. But this is definitely 100% repairable. So I'm going to contact, I forgot his name, 1 second, Brent, and let him know. I mean, I'm going to open it up, make sure there is no burns or nothing in like that in there. But this is the nice thing about being able to reproduce the conserve, because then when I perform the activations and we go for 10 minutes and we do the same thing, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad, right? So we can surely or correctly show the customer that indeed his computer is fixed. All right, guys, so I'll be right back. All right, guys, the repairs are done. As you see, I have the computer open. Let me move you here. Yeah, you can see. Let me just move this a little bit out of the way. I'm going to reconnect the scanner. So let's see how I can do this, because I want to be able to see what you guys are seeing. My iPad disconnected. Something is happening with the internet here. Files is, Verizon is doing something and is affecting the communication. Sometimes I have to restart the computer. I cannot do that in the middle of a video. All right, so let's reconnect. I'm going to move this here. I'm gonna have to make it a little smaller, see if it affects the view, and it does. So let me remake that box, because since I cannot have the 1 second, guys. All right, I got it. I think all I needed to do was just bring the scanner here. So let's first reconnect the scanner. So we're gonna enter the PCM. Hopefully I don't have to redo the whole thing again. Let's see. Okay, now it looks like it worked. Perfect. Got the little hammer ready. Move this a little this way. I can get the scanner closer to me. Perfect. Now we're going to actuation test. The same thing we did. Output test. and add data stream, which should be still selected. I added before the O2 sensor just to see if they actually show, but they only show when the card is running. But we now know that we can reproduce a concern when we tap the computer. So let's turn it on. Okay. Is everything on? Let me check my connection, guys, because I've been moving everything. All right, guys, that was not the connections. I had to actually redo the job, and actually 3 times. It is, sometimes it's very, very hard to do, especially in these computers. And I was almost thinking on remove the board. I even removed the bolts, but it is so stuck in there that it is dangerous. So the problem with these boards, let me take you over to this capture. As you see, well, the computer is open, ready for the test, but you see there is no screws in the board. These are not glue. It's a thermal paste, but that one, when it dries, it becomes also a glue. And when you try or attempt to remove the board from these computers, it's like almost a 70% chance it will be garbage. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. So I tried to do it again and do it again. And the reason is it fails 3 times, not because the components were bad. The components were fine. You know, the components that I'm replacing, there is one of the ICs that I need to replace that has a very big ground path. And that ground path is, you know, on the size of this computer, and then takes this same case, which is a composite of aluminum or something like that. And that dissipates the heat so quickly that even though it gets very hot in here, right, because I use the hot plate and everything, it dissipates the heat so quickly that it wasn't setting down completely, and then it was not grounding the IC. So finally, I got it to work. I still need to redo the test that we have as in the first part, or, you know, at the end, or where you guys were seeing, because for me, that is still... well, for you, it's still the same video. So let me get the full probe. No, not the full probe. The Phoenix in here in the meter. As you see, the computer is connected and it's on. So I'm going to do the test. Probably it's being on for like maybe 20 minutes. It's still a little bit. It's almost cooled down because I had it on the hot plate, like I said. So let me do the on, and we can see both of those lights on, off, and on, and they're working good. So look at the time right now. If you cannot see it in there, it's 4:07 p.m. and the only time that I took, it was, I would say, probably maybe an hour away to get lunch and walk away too, you know, because you get so I don't know, like your body start to feel stressed from the fail, that you need to walk away, breathe, take your time, and then come back fresh, kind of fresh, right? And then retry again, because yeah, these electric components, especially in this kind of designs, are very hard to do. So it's 4:07 p.m. Let's come back in 4:17, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to just keep the computer on, and then we do the topping. But I'm pretty sure that this is done, because I have done multiple times this repair. This is probably one of the hardest computer that I have attempted this repair. They give me so much headache. But it's done. So I am always very careful to protect the computer. So it's the temperatures in the hot plate. Is this hot plate has a curve that you can check the temperatures, and it raises up and it comes down. So it's a very good hot plate. But all right, let's come back on 4:17. All right, guys. Actually, it's 4:28. I went to take coffee. My wife got me a Cinnabon, and I love those. So yep, that was what I was doing. All right, so let's do the topping. You know, this is being already 28 minutes. Now, I don't want to go crazy, you know, gorilla, but we can see that now that is no longer the case. So, Brent, finally, and for after hours of trying these components, we got a good success into the test. I'm going to turn them off so you can see that, yeah, it is off because and on, controlled by the scanner. And it has been like that, like I said, for 30 minutes. So everything is now good. I hope you guys like the content. If you want to know how the circuits work in the vehicle or in the wire diagrams and everything, just look for, I think I have a playlist for the Mustangs. So just go there. I got plenty, and just look for for Mustang AC, and you will find. I even show the components, the hot plate, installation, and everything. And I explain how the circuit works. Doing tests with like the test light, the same thing that I have in here. I don't have the AC clutch. I just put a test light into the same output, which I don't remember if I went over with the diagrams, which I usually do. And I think I started this video is immediately into the test and reproducing this. And I can show you, since, we're here. Let me just show you that quickly before I end the video. Because I have it all. And I don't remember if I did. I think I did show the connections, right? Yeah, I think I did show the connections. I just, it's been hours for me. I know it's been minutes for you, but not for me. Let me just show you, because I'm not sure if I show the AC connection to the computer. So let me take the scanner and the meter off of there and then take you over to here. So in the computer, I explained you the connectors in the beginning. We have, this is page 8 of the diagrams from Ford. In connector C175B, pin 14 is the ACC relay, or air conditioning control relay. And that's where I have this test light connected right here to pin 14. So I think I forgot to mention that, and I had the other one is the evap purge, which is one of his concerns. And you saw how they were both flickering. And pin 6 in connector 175E. That's the one with the most pins. All right, guys. So again, I'm always trying to explain, test, and retest to make sure that when the computer goes back to a customer, or to you, if you're the customer, it goes fully tested and you will be happy. I always also encourage my customers to please try the computers, feel comfortable, and please help my small business with your review. That's the only way that I can survive, is with the help of all of you. And I know that my business is very different. I don't think it's any other company in the world doing what I do, which is showing you the before and after, explaining you and everything. So please help me stay in business by supporting the channel, by subscribing, or by giving me a review. That will really, really help me a lot. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.